welcome back to cfc-tv. First of all, I want to apologise for uploading the review of the Chelsea versus Manchester City game a day late, but I didn't have time to record it last night after the game, and so here we are basically. And obviously, my apologies for not uploading the review of the Swansea game. I didn't have time the whole weekend really. I just about had time to watch the game. Well, made time basically. And then it was Monday, and I thought about recording a video, and I'm like, oh, who the fuck cares on a Monday? 2 days after the game, nobody really cares anyway, especially after that kind of performance. Just quickly talking about the Swansea game, especially the first half, was absolutely appalling. Like one of the worst halves I've ever seen us play, and we've played very badly this season a lot of the time. Second half it was a bit better, but it was just not good enough. Just not good enough, let's be honest. And Swansea deserved the victory, if I'm honest. So yeah. And now, finally gonna start with the review of the Chelsea versus Manchester City game. Obviously, it finished 3-0. Not to us, of course, to Manchester City. Let's start with the lineup. It was Thibaut Courtois in goal after he set out the game against Swansea and Begovic played. Aspilicueta on the right, Cahill and Branislav Ivanovic, centre-backs, Baba Rahman on the left, Janovi McCallum and Cesc Fabregas holding midfielders, Pedro on the left, Ruben Loftus-Cheek as number 10, Willian on the right, and Diego Costa was back from his suspension and started up front. The game was weird. Not weird, no. It was just shit. No, like in the first 20 minutes we were slightly the better team. We had a decent chance through Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Not a big chance, but it was a decent chance. I think Man City had one half chance in that time. But there wasn't. But we had more of the possession. We tried to go forward, but we didn't manage to create anything. And then when they eventually scored, it just all went down the drain, basically. I mean, we had a corner, a terrible corner, as each of our corners was. I remember, it was 6 corners to us and 2 to them, and their 2 looked 110% more dangerous than all of our 6, and actually they looked more dangerous after we had a corner. And as just said, they scored from a counter attack after a corner kick through Agüero. It was a bit unlucky because Kerr tried to block the shot and just got a slight touch to it, basically just with his studs, and that made it impossible for Thibaut Courtois to reach, because I'm almost certain that Courtois would have saved it otherwise. But yeah, and the second goal, it came. Diego was in the box trying to get through. He sort of fell over. It wasn't a foul. He sort of was appealing for a pen, but it clearly wasn't one. And they started a counter-attack again, and it ended up with a decent finish by Agüero. Can't really blame Courtois for that one. And then the third goal, it was a through ball to Fernandinho. I think he put the ball past Courtois, who came out, out sliding. Took Fernandinho down. Obviously, he got a red card. There's always the debate, do we have to have, the triple, what's the word? Three bad things happening really. The penalty, the red card, the player sent off, and obviously you have him banned for the next game as well, or even more. Is that always necessary? But then again, I do understand it, because I'm 99% sure Fernandinho would have scored if Courtois didn't take him down. And Agüero stepped up, converted his penalty better than he did against PSG in midweek. Yeah, that was about it. We basically had 2 chances. What I thought maybe we could score. Ruben Loftus-Cheek in the first half, as I said, a great turn by him, a decent shot, a good save by Hart. Weird how the linesman or the referee gave a goal kick, because it was clearly Hart who saved it, not the post, but And then the other one was basically by Ruben Loftus-Cheek as well. It was a great dribble by Pedro, who crossed it in, and Ruben just couldn't get his body, positioned in the right way to get something on it. He tried to sort of just get a touch on it and put it in the net, but he got too much on it with his foot. It's just, skied basically. But other than that, I can't really think of a chance we had. We had one not a great shot. It got blocked, got saved, but parried straight into the middle to Kennedy, who was sadly enough offside. But other than that, it was just nothing. If I come to the players, Courtois, I know he's been sent off, but he was decent the first half. He made some very good saves, two or three good saves. Can't blame him for any of the goals he would have got to the first one. Can't. What does it matter if he lets him go through and he scores a goal, or if he gets a red card? We're not playing for anything. What does it matter if Begovic plays next game or not? Azpilicueta, can't really blame him too much. Not much happened on his side. Cahill and Brunner, I was quite happy with both if I'm honest. Because if you think about it, at least, well, the first goal we were completely, they counted us. And obviously, when we had a corner, the centre backs are up front, so it's not their sort of fault that we didn't keep a clean sheet in the first place by conceding a goal, because they weren't even supposed to defend right there. They weren't obviously great. Neither of them were great. I mean, Cahill had a few sloppy moments, but then again, he had some incredible blocks. And then I'm going to come to our worst player of the day, Bubba Rahman. He's basically always our worst player of the day. His passing is terrible, his defending is terrible, his crossing is terrible, his positioning is terrible. I don't even know anything that he's good at. I haven't seen him win a sprinting duel. I haven't seen him, if there's a long ball, he always tries to stay away, let the player control it, and then tries to, sort of tackle him or, get closer, put him under pressure, but never just tries to get the ball or just put it out. You can put it out for a corner, for a throw-in. Doesn't matter, just get rid of it. I'm just so annoyed of him. Basically, everything that happened on his side through Kevin De Bruyne, who played sort of, not just De Bruyne, but De Bruyne and Navas. De Bruyne played a central attacking mid role, but he drifted out to the right a little bit. So Navas and De Bruyne basically made fun of Bubba Rahman. Navas even nutmegged him, and like a terrible performance. Mikel, lackluster as always, because I know a lot of people. He's been good, against like Palace or something in January or whatever. But for the last few weeks, he's been absolutely terrible. I know he got us the equaliser at the time in Paris. He cost us the first goal, if we're honest, because he's basically not man enough to stand straight in the wall. And I just never see him run. He just always jogs. When they're on the counter, they could just see him jogging behind. Never sprinting. And don't even know if maybe he lost his sprinting button or something, or maybe it's broken. I don't know. Fabregas, didn't have a good game. We tried. He tried to play his long balls over the defence, but they just hardly ever came off, if ever. I can't really blame him too much, to be honest. He tried. He did his best, and obviously his defensive work isn't the best, but we all know that that's not his best, and because Hiddink knows that, and if he's put in that position, yes, he will try his best to defend, but if it doesn't work, it's not his fault, it's the manager's fault who put him in that position. Not saying that it's wrong to play Fabregas there, not at all, but he didn't have a good game, but I wasn't annoyed at him like I was at Bubba Rahman, for example. Then coming to Pedro, he was probably our best player on the day, especially in the start of the second half. He had some dribbles, he had some, step overs and going past players, especially when Zabaleta was still on. Probably should have, made Zabaleta sent off, because it should have been a second yellow, but the ref gave Zabaleta a second warning and stuff like that, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, he had the good shot that I talked about, then the chance in the second half, but his passing was very sloppy at times, which annoyed me a little bit. Not saying to drop him, not at all. I'm very happy that he's starting to play. He's getting 90 minutes almost every time I think recently, which is great. You can see that he's getting more and more into it. He feels more confident and does not always make the simplest of passes. Tries for the more extravagant pass, And once it even came off to Diego, it didn't come to anything, but he played a good pass, Coming to Willian, he was good in the first 20 minutes, but after that he was just invisible. He had a small injury, but, even though he has been by far best player this season, he hasn't been great in recent weeks, Diego, did nothing. But then again, can you blame him because he had no service? That's just the life of a striker. If a striker can't do anything if he doesn't get the ball in a good position, you always had to come back to even get the ball, and then you know, not great, not great. But I think I want to touch on more so because let's be honest, most of us expected to lose against Man City. At least I did. Maybe not in such like 3-0. I was maybe hoping for 2-1, 2-0 or whatever. But with like 10 minutes to go, the stadium was basically half, maybe even more than half empty. I think there were like 10,000 people left, maybe 15,000, And for me personally, I find it disgraceful. You know, everyone can deal with the situation the club is in, whatever way they want. But that doesn't stop me from thinking it's disgraceful. Like, if you support a team, you're supposed to stay there. You're supposed to stay there and be there. And I don't care, like, you're upset and you leave to show the club that you're upset. What does that help? What does that help? Remember my video after we sacked Jose? I said boycott the games. Because that's the only way the club will feel that they did something wrong. Because they will lose some money. If actually hardly anyone turned up. Obviously, the season tickets already are paid, but if there's no tickets paid for the day, they don't see any money, do they? So that's the only way. But you leave 10, 15 minutes early. Absolute disgrace. Like, if it was me, if I would be in the position to be at the games every week, if I would be in the position to like go on the pitch after the game, I would just go over and hug players like Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Cesc Fabregas, Willian, Brunner, Cahill, Azpilicueta, Cesc, Diego, maybe some others, obviously JT, but he didn't play, and just tell them, we're gonna get through this, together. It's one terrible season. We all know that, but we're gonna get through it together, and we're gonna be back stronger next season. And the players and the club can always rely on my support. It doesn't matter how bad it is going. It does not matter to me. My support will always be there. Of course I will be annoyed, I will be angry, I will be disappointed, I will be sad, but the support won't stop. And that's how a real fan, not I don't like the word real fan, but that's how a fan should think and approach a game, in my opinion anyway. Like, of course there is an end to supporting a player. If I feel like a player's not trying, like, Hazard or sometimes Thibaut Courtois or Matic has been this season. Like, if that is the case, then they lose my support. Obviously not at all, and I'm not going to start hating them like I hate an Arsenal player or something, but they're not going to have as much support, or not even close to as much support, as, a player like John Terry. I'm going to like them as a player because they play for Chelsea, but basically I'm going to feel neutral to them, if you know what I mean. So that's just, you just always have to be there for your club. You don't have to be in the stand and sitting there and smiling and being faking happiness. You're not supposed to sing like Hazard's name when you're clearly upset with him. That's not what I mean. Like, you're supposed to be there. You can invent new songs. You can vent your frustration. You can sing with fucking shit if you want, but you are there. And you show your support by that, even though you say we're shit. But the players know we are. If you're losing 3-0, they know they've been very bad on the day. Like, it's just, it's so difficult for me to put it in words, because I just don't know that. I go to see my local team every week. I've seen us get smashed 6-0, and never in a million years would I think about leaving the stadium. Like, why would you even do that? Like, and even more so in England, like, you paid a lot of money, and even if you're not doing well, imagine paying like 60 quid for a dinner, and then, not having the dessert even though you pay for it. That's basically the same thing. Well, maybe not dessert, because dessert is supposed to be good, but like, not have the salad because you paid for it, like, or whatever, the starter, doesn't matter. You get what I mean. And I just find it disgraceful by fans that leave. Like you're supposed to be there for your club, and you don't have to sing for players. You don't if you don't want to vent your frustration. Like I wouldn't sit there and like sing "fuck off Aiden" or whatever. Doesn't matter. I would just we love you Chelsea or stuff like that, or just sing the club's name. And even though the board and the club have fucked up quite a few times over the last last months basically, I still love the club. And to me, to like the amount of support I give them, it doesn't matter if that's being champions like last season, finishing mid-table like this season, fighting relegation, or even getting relegated. Of course, I'm going to be more and more annoyed, but I'm not going to stop watching games. I'm not going to, leave the stadium or switch my stream off. That's not going to happen. You can be damn sure about that, because that's just not the kind of fan I am. And it could be, it could be Championship, it could be League One, Like, of course, it would be a bit more difficult to find a stream if we were in League One, but, I would try my best. Because Chelsea's my team, and I love my team, and I do understand that not everyone can love a football club as much as I do. I do completely understand that, and that they are still fans, and that they are still fans that are allowed to express their opinion. And if their opinion they want to express it by leaving the stadium, so be it. But if they can, express their opinion by doing that, I should be allowed to express my opinion that by saying I think it's disgraceful, because I do think it is disgraceful. But yeah, more and more people come to what I've been saying for months, like, why have we sacked Mourinho again? We lost to City 3-0 under Jose. Remember, we lost 3-0. We lost 3-0 to City again now. 16th then, 10th now, or 11th, I don't even know. Doesn't matter, let's be honest, we wouldn't have got relegated, even though some people say we would. Let's be honest, we wouldn't. And we're going to have a revamp of squad in the summer anyway with Conte. A lot of players will be sold. Players like Oscar, keep mixing up, it. Matic, possibly Courtois, possibly Hazard, possibly, Mikel, some more Bobby Rahman, you no idea. You have a whole revamp of the squad. And that is what Jose would have needed. I talked about it before. I would feel more comfortable with Jose being here. Well, I know what I can expect, and I can expect wins. What can I expect from Conte? I don't know. It's never worked in England. How do I know? How do I know if a 3-5-2 works in England? How do I know if a 3-4-3 works in England? The last time a three at the back was tested was Louis van Gaal at the start of the season, and he fucked it up completely. Was it last season? Can't remember. But it hasn't worked very well recently, has it? So I'm a bit worried about those kind of things. And then all the players we're linked with, basically all of them are from the Serie A. I know the Premier League isn't as good as it was like 6-7 years ago. When 2008 era, 2009. When we were in the semi-finals every year, and it was an all-English Champions League final, and would have been if the ref didn't, it wasn't for the UEFA alone, it would have been Chelsea United again in 2009. Like, that's not the case anymore, but still the Serie A is compared to the Premier League, it's such a terrible league. Like the tempo, the quality, the skill, it's just so much below the Premier League, like the average level. Of course, Juventus are a great team, probably a lot better than us right now, and possibly better than like Leicester, Tottenham, and City, even though City are in the semi-final, but City are about to play Bayern, have played them in the last 16. But I just forgot City had actually Juventus in their group, didn't they? All right, fair enough. Maybe City are a bit better then. But still, they have great players like Pogba. But in general, we're not linked with Pogba. We're linked with Nainggolan, who's a good player, don't get me wrong. And I wouldn't mind seeing him at Chelsea. But is this our standard that we've come to, from wanting Pogba last season, from wanting, being linked with Messi like 1.5 years ago, when all this bullshit, but we're linked with him, Now we're linked with Nainggolan. Higuain is a good striker, but he's in the Serie A again. Cavani, who's been second choice for PSG for years and years, and players that, and signing Pedro, like an unwanted player by Barcelona because they decided he's not good enough. Yes, of course Barcelona are the best team in the world, but still we want to get to that level at one point, even though it's probably not going to happen to be on their level, but that's what we aim for, And then we shouldn't sign players who they think are not good enough for them, and then sign them. Unless they're like 22 and we think we can, improve them more than they can. But in player Pedro's age, even though I do think Pedro was the best player yesterday, it doesn't help, you know. But yeah, I had a bit of a rant towards the end, as you realised. But I just loved. Completely messed up. I just love this club, you know. And I do, and I will always stand for it. And you know, as stupid as it sounds, it's the most important thing in my life. And everything comes second to Chelsea. Like, if it's friends, if it's family. I know it sounds harsh for some people, but that's me. You know, that's how I work. Chelsea comes above everything. Everything. It doesn't matter what. Chelsea is more important. But yeah, that's it from me. If you have anything to say to the fans leaving early, to the game itself, please leave it down in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, if you enjoyed my little rant towards the end, leave a like rating, would be highly appreciated. Getting closer and closer to 100 subscribers, which would be a first, milestone. Maybe not, obviously not a big milestone, but it would be something nice to achieve and to reach for me personally. We're 96 right now, I think. And yeah, it would be nice. So if you haven't already, please subscribe. Would be highly appreciated. And I'm going to see you guys for a review next week.